right now I do want to play some of the sound and the video from as disastrous a public interview as you've ever seen an American president do. Roy, you're a member of the National Association of Black Journalists. I have not seen what the conversation has been around whether they should have even done this. Was there a great deal of criticism for NABJ for even inviting him to make a mess of their proceedings?
Yeah, nobody wanted it. Not a single member wanted this. And the problem was they screwed this up big time. They tried to invite Kamala to the convention. She couldn't do it because she had to attend a funeral for a Congresswoman, Sheila Jackson Lee, and she had to talk to her sorority. She couldn't make it. But she tried to work with the NABJ for a virtual chat. They wanted her on premises, so they couldn't make it work. So they were just left with Trump. It was a disaster. It was an absolute disaster. And somebody on Twitter actually said that the people on the right are going to believe that he's brave for going into enemy territory, which is stupid to me because they're journalists. They're Americans. You're supposed to talk to these people. They're your constituents. You're not storming the beaches of Normandy going into a race war here. Like, what are you doing here?
The explanation was that NABJ has invited both candidates since 1970s consistently. I'm not actually sure, and I will defer because I have not read what the criticism has been. It may have seemed like a bad idea at the time, and the way that it went certainly came off bad for Trump, but I don't think it looked bad for the NABJ. In fact, the first question out of the box to me is how I would like Trump questioned with facts at all times. Like, I would love Trump to have to answer for some stuff and get pressed on it in places that are simply factual. So I don't know, and I'm asking you guys, is it fair after what you've seen to say that NABJ didn't do its job in a time when journalism is collapsing and you got to throw these things into the light? And to my way of thinking, the way to beat Trump and Vance is just let them keep talking. Don't do anything to get in the way of, just let them keep calling women, childless women, pet owner losers. Have them keep talking and you will end up winning this.
Right.
Well, I'm sorry, Juju, but they allowed him to pick one of the panelists, Harris Faulkner. And it was delayed an hour because Trump wouldn't let them fact check him live. That's a huge problem. If you're a journalistic entity like the NABJ, you got to fact check this guy because all he does is lie.
It's hard to fact check in real time. You were saying, Juju.
I was thinking that I think it was important for the NABJ to have him up there. Like you said, the first thing he did was, instead of answer a question, so right back into that divisiveness and attack the person asking the question. It's like, brother, like, you had an opportunity to actually win over some of the people you should win over, and instead of that, you chose to talk about her race. She's an Indian woman. She's a black woman. Like, brother, that's not fire for someone to put their confidence in. And I think he really dropped the ball last night.
Well, let's see how it started, because, again, you may not think it's polite. You may think it's impolite to disrespect an authoritarian figure right off the top without a greeting by just presenting to him a series of facts that he's responsible for. But the brazenness of Trump recently, where he's saying, well, you won't have to vote again in 4 years if you get me. Like, the brazenness of pissing all over democracy. I will tell you that dictators do not like to be questioned, and racist ones and misogynistic and sexist ones do not like to be questioned by black women, most of all.
And he tried to walk that back. His team tried to walk that back and say, well, he just meant that once we vote him in, we'll have so much confidence in their party. It's like, brothers, like, you have an opportunity. This country has leaned into divisiveness for some reason instead of just presenting facts. Like, we want to hear you talk about Sonya Massey, bro. We want to actually hear your opinion instead of you getting so offended and not answering the question. Like, how does this happen? I'm not going to ramble on, but I just think it's very embarrassing for that to be propped up so heroically.
It should be noted that while his campaign has tried to walk back his comments when he was speaking to a large gathering of Christians, he's had several opportunities to walk it back himself, and he has refused.
Let's listen to how this whole thing started.
I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from.
Fact.
You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys.
Fact.
You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist.
Fact.
You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort.
Fact.
So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country.
I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. We were talking, laughing, crying about Stugotz and wondering whether or not Stugotz could do the job that he does for us the way that he does it anywhere else, like at FAN, that way, aggressively, Stugotz. And the place that we stumbled on conversationally was, can Donald Trump in this country get another job other than the one he's trying to get? Like, he's not allowed as a felon to drive kids to school in a school bus. Like, you can't. Is there another job available to Donald Trump that he could have in America given his list of things other than President of the United States, if he topples all the rules, gets the judges, changes the way everything works in our system, and stays out of jail by winning or prison by winning the presidency?
He can't even go work at McDonald's with that attitude. Like, bro, you got to be more inclusive than this if you want the support of brothers and sisters around the world. First of all, you're going to have to take off your aggression cap. Answer the question. Like, to me, that's the most simple part. Answer this lady's question. Don't just disrespect this woman in front of all these people, bro. Like, go ahead, Jessica. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. I'm happy to hear your opinion. I think that all the reasons that you listed, Dan, are why people have an opinion that he shouldn't be treated like a normal candidate and why he shouldn't be extended the invitation to speak for journalists at something like NABJ, and that's why there was a lot of backlash. People and membership were very upset about the fact that they even extended the invitation to him, given especially all of the things Roy listed about why some journalistic faux pas were made in, him being able to decide the manner in which he was being interviewed and who was going to be moderating the interview. So I think that it's, that what you said right there is the problem, is that there's a huge disagreement between a lot of people about whether or not you should deplatform Trump or whether or not this is someone that you have to give the same considerations to because he's a presidential candidate.
There's nothing in this country stopping felons from making money in the avenues that he's made his money: entrepreneurship, real estate investments, and reality show hosting.
The things that this person has done to journalism so easily, so awfully, have been shocking to me, heartbreaking to me. And I believe in the modern age of journalism that he went to one of his moves right off the bat, which is just call her fake news because that works.
Nasty. He likes that one.
But just call her fake news because it works, because there is a segment of a population who believes and trusts in the credibility of this man more than it does in the American media.
And that population sometimes, like, it's salute to everybody in the world, but some Caucasians poor Caucasians in Alabama, for example, they are ready to jump on his policies as if it will help them, but just because they like the figure. And they don't even understand, like, brother, you voting for that, that's going to keep you poor. Yep. It's like a lot of his followers and supporters are blindly following him through the breach. And it's like, wake up, America, wake up. Please, wake up.
I wasn't really surprised. I know a lot of these things are shocking, but Donald Trump has remained pretty consistent with how he handles interviews when he's pressed on things. This just offered up a whole new world of possibilities given the setup. But I was interested in, given the audience that he was speaking to see if he would actually do anything as it pertains to policy, because inflation has affected many people, including Black Americans, and it was more just promises. And it ignored his 4 years as president. Black unemployment is at a record low under the Biden administration. He kept pointing to the border as if that it does affect black jobs, and it affects every job. Yeah, I understand why the border is secure, but he needs to be secure for people's jobs, but he, once again, doesn't provide details. There has been resolutions pending that Donald Trump has reportedly stopped the Republicans from signing off on. And at the time, Republicans were very confused. Look, this is the same exact bill that Donald Trump drew up. The wall is built. But they realize if they actually do anything about the border, that hurts his cause, because there isn't actually substance. If you hold up his record, there's some excuse and some look over here type of stuff. But if you actually judge him based on his record and the things that he says, you were in charge for 4 years. You're not campaigning. These are promises that you can fact check, and you didn't actually do anything about it. And certainly, compared to this administration, you're lagging well behind.
And he also said he would pardon the January 6th insurrectionists, and that's also a problem.
Oh, there are a bunch of things here. Let's get some of the other sound. There was also something funny here that happened with a water bottle. We're going to have Jamel Hill on here in a little bit, but the comfort, the casual comfort with sitting in front of that audience and saying that Kamala Harris turned black, like the casual comfort with that can only come from a lifetime of privilege as being a mediocre man who goes bankrupt a bunch of different times and keeps reinventing himself because he's white and wearing a suit.
She was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always identified as a black woman. She went to a historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be
Apparently, he doesn't know that much about genetics,
I mean,
like biracial.
And that's your stance. Your stance is she is Indian or is she black? That has nothing to do with the office. That's just my point. Stop letting the wool be pulled over your eyes. And this ain't to say Kamala is. I'm not supporting Kamala. I'm just saying let's just keep the facts, bro. Come on.
Pick a race.
The idea that any of this is this close to the presidency
Again.
disgraces. Yeah, again, yes. But worse this time than the last time.
And favored to win.
Worse this time than the last time. The idea that any of this can be so crude and cruel as to work and as to harm journalism in a substantive way, I felt bad for those women who were doing their job well. I did not want to be in that position of trying to fact check someone who is so aggressively slippery with just pouring lies in your face that you simply can't keep up with fact checking. It's not possible in real time to call him on everything without interrupting him every 2 sentences.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of questions to be asked, but chief among them is, why does he have to be so rude?
He is old and rude.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Touché.
Rude.
Yeah.
Look at the range of this segment. How about us? Can we just for a second?
We started with
Yeah,
the
let's-
2001
pat myself on the back right
Mariners.
here.
Do this.
You
Who else is doing this? Are you doing it, McAfee?
No,
You're not doing this.
You can't applaud.
Yeah, I don't want the smoke.
Look, let this just be let Kamala or Donald earn your vote, America. Don't let these folks off the hook. Make them earn your vote. No matter who you support, go out to the box and listen to the policies, because that's going to be the most important thing.
You did a good job there, Juju, of speaking right to the camera. You were speaking right directly to America. It was very intimate the way that you did that. Got comfortable in that seat.
At first, Sean Olerud.